Good evening, everybody. How you doing? My name is Ukanyalanga. I am the founder and currently the CEO of Off Topic Enterprises. Off Topic is a conglomerate that deals with media and finance. On the finance side, we have business consulting that helps with emotional intelligence in the workplace, soft skills development, and leadership training. Today, our topic is on multinationals. That will be the multinational corporations. These are the companies that we currently work for. Most of us are working for those companies here, especially here in Johannesburg. This would be, and big cities really. This would be companies like your Coca-Colas, your PepsiCos, your Philips, Samsung, Suzuki, Toyota, these are companies that are basically that operate in more than one country. Their place of registration and their place of incorporation may not necessarily be in South Africa, but they are currently operating in South Africa because there's business here, and also there could be other target markets, lower employee rates, whatever it is, whatever the reasons are for operating in a certain country, multinationals do exist. And South Africa also has multinational companies that come from South Africa, like ShopRite, like Nando's, and there's a lot of corporations that we have in South Africa that operate worldwide. Well, mostly in Africa, but worldwide. So we come back again to the vision and the mission of Off-Topic Enterprises, especially the business consulting side. The business consulting side wants to basically help people. The care of Off-Topic Enterprises is for the people, to find their mojo back, their groove back, to have the ability to produce the best results. We want to extract the best out of people and also create profits and, like a great working environment for companies, right? So how we do this is that we come into a company, we do a case study on what are the challenges that are being faced by the company, and then we produce results that will be communicated through training and other documented programs that the company and ourselves would discuss. Multinational corporations are actually really good for the world at large, because if you go to a certain country and you see a shop that you're familiar with, like for example, you leave Indonesia and you come to South Africa and you see a Starbucks, maybe that's what you have in Indonesia, it creates good international relations and globalization. And I mean, we know we need globalization because Jesus must be known. So now, we basically have multinational corporations that are operating in all these countries all over the world, and we get this oneness, this unity through these multinational corporations. And I think it's a good way of working. So now, what are the challenges that we've seen as off topic in these multinational corporations? So multinational corporations, the big things are like the financial reporting, which needs to go to the standards of IFRS. IFRS is the International Financial Reporting Standards. And then we've got IT systems. Sometimes we need to integrate the IT systems that we have in South Africa to the IT systems in the other countries so that, we can streamline the process of communicating information with the head companies and all the other nations that we operate with. So for example, if there's a company that sells gearboxes and the gearboxes are produced in America, then they get transported to all of Africa, and like maybe they get transported from India where the actual gearboxes are made, but the company is owned in America, and the company, everything is in US dollars. And so now when these American gearboxes are transported to the rest of Africa, it needs to go through one system to say, yes guys, we've seen them, they have left the airport or they've left the harbor in India, and now they have arrived in Guinea, they've arrived in South Africa, they've arrived in this and this area. So basically the central reporting system is very good, because when you have the same IT applications, it's easier to have a flow of reporting, and that's really good. So we've got IFRS, that's the reporting standards, which help us regulate how we report and have the same way of reporting, and numbers that speak to each other and numbers that can be combined. And then we have the IT systems, IT infrastructure and applications. What else do we have? We have Regulations. Each and every country should have regulations that are adhered to by the corporation. So, for example, even though we have these gearboxes from an American company, there must be a South African registered company so that this company that is an American company can actually pay taxes in South Africa, or also follow the rules and regulations of South Africa. Things like the VAT percentage, companies tax, and you name it, right? And then we have the final thing, well, amongst other things that I would love to talk about, which is the people of a corporation. So the people of a corporation are the people that come into work. Yes, they'll go through HR practices, they'll protocols, and they'll be employed because of their qualification and their standards, and then they will produce the work that is needed of them. The work that is produced by the people in simplistic terms is usually like just, processing of information, because the company already exists in South Africa, but it is incorporated in America, for example, or in the UK, or in Indonesia, or in China, and it basically just follows what America, China, or that big head office says. So there will be like procedures and ways of operating that will be communicated by these head companies, and these will be documented and passed down to each and every country, translated into the different languages. And just like the Bible, it's translated in so many languages. We hope that there's no misinterpretation, but we know that there is a misinterpretation when we get to the results. So once we are communicating the results, and it's like, why are you guys doing that way? It's like, no, but this is what it said. This is what your processes and procedures said. It's like, no, oh no, it was supposed to be or instead of and, so that type of thing. We need to make sure that these are translated correctly. And we also need, the issues that we've seen is that although there are these big policies and procedures of operations, they are so blanketed that they are not applied into a nation according to the nation's operations. And I understand that companies, are huge, and they usually have this company that's opened in South Africa that's operating well. For example, you'll have Massmart that was operating well, doing okay, opened in South Africa and Africa. And then you'll have Walmart from America buying Massmart and then saying, South Africa or Massmart, we want you to operate in this manner. And then they send them all the documentations. But because Massmart was already operating, Massmart is going to sort of continue the way they were operating and then just clean up at the end when they have to report to Walmart. I don't know if you get that, right? So we basically have policies and procedures that are passed on by head companies into the multinational companies in each and every country, and that we need to adhere to. But the issue that Off Topic has noticed is that the application of these policies is not really focused on, how we can incorporate these policies and procedures and make sure that they apply to the South African context or the Guinea context. Do you understand? So this is what Off Topic Enterprises could come and help with, to interpret what is being said. What do the rules and procedures of South African governance and South African way of operations say, and then mix the two and merge them and create a great policy that will be documented well for South African purposes and also will relate to the American way of doing things. This should not only be done at month end when we are trying to report. I think this should be incorporated in the practices of an organization and communicated so that the people are aware. It's not the strategic people and the board people that should know what America is planning to do all the time. So there should be a communication to the lower level of staff to know that I am working. I know there are people who don't know that they're working for a multinational corporation. They'll be like, me, I'm going to work and I work in South Africa. I work in Johannesburg, Sandton. But they don't know that they're working for a company that's registered in the US. And they don't know how to actually apply themselves to a US context in South Africa as a South African. Yeah, globalization. It's a very interesting concept. And I think, whether we like it or not, it's happening. And there's really positives to it. A couple of negatives here and there with certain groups of people owning the economy and the transfer sort of currencies, like being the US dollar, being the main transfer currency. Imagine like you're going to buy something next door to in Zimbabwe or in Nigeria, and you have to use the US dollar. That doesn't make sense. But with that being said, those are the governments, and they'll deal with it at their own time, or we will deal with it the way we should. But for now, the focus is on multinationals and what we would assist the multinationals to do well in South Africa and all the other countries that they are operating in. So let's leave that as number one. And I think this might be a 3-part series. So I will speak on number 2 and see if we can keep it for today.